UK, it's looking likely that sports fans will not be allowed back into stadiums in the UK until March 2021, which will be a full year after the lockdown was brought in. Now, the government has had meetings with the various sporting governing bodies that include horse racing, football, rugby union, rugby league. I believe ice hockey was in there. A few of the other arena sports are in there. Laying out the framework. Now, the initial plan was fans by October the 1st. UK-wide. Scotland was trying to aim for a couple of weeks earlier. They pushed that back to later in October. I can't see the Scottish government going against what the rest of the UK is doing when it comes to these big public events. But from what reports are coming out, it looks likely that the next 6 months there's going to be no fans in stadiums. There's been a few trial events, but the knock-on effect for sport is where it's going to be most keenly felt. The Elite League Ice Hockey, for example, has already basically indefinitely suspended the 2020-2021 season. Their statement that they released last week was, we need fans in attendance of at least 75% in order to make the game viable and the economics viable to continue as things are. The TV and media deals we have are not big enough to sustain the league without fans. It's not enough money. So they've indefinitely suspended their season. And there's hopes for a shortened round-robin format in 2021, leading into the World Championship Ice Hockey. Lower league football is going to get hammered. We've already seen clubs facing winding up petitions and winding up orders from the High Court. Southend United are the next club on the chopping block to face financial strife. When the Huddersfield owner came out, I think in April, and he said 50 to 60 clubs will go out of business within the next 12 months. If play cannot be resumed or if fans aren't allowed back in. It shows how heavily reliant the lower leagues are on gate revenue. The TV deal isn't good enough. Again, Rugby League has already had to seek a loan from the government. Their TV deal with Sky for the RFL is not great. It's not worth a lot of money. In comparison to the NRL in Australia, it's worth a pittance. They've already had to seek an emergency loan from the government. They were banking on having fans at the semi-finals and the final of the Challenge Cup in October. And that's come as a hammer blow to be told there will be no fans in attendance because these are their showpiece, events other than the Super League Grand Final at Old Trafford. To have no fans in attendance is a massive financial blow, and there's already concerns about the Toronto Wolfpack returning to play next season. So the structure of the Super League competition going forward and the lower grades, such as the Championship and League One, concerns over Rugby League, Rugby Union. No fans in attendance. We're already seeing massive financial strains on Rugby Union. Even with fans in attendance, there's been concerns about the financial structures of Rugby Union long term. It's been a key debating point in Rugby Union circles for several years now. We've now heard reports that Wasps are facing financial difficulty. So if big name clubs are going to start hitting the wall in Rugby Union, there are concerns about the long-term viability of that sport with no fans in attendance. And then you have to look at next year. Like how many teams, professional sports teams, will survive with no fans in attendance? How different will sports look in 6 months' time? How different will the sporting landscape look 6 months down the track? So I don't think it's going to look that good February, March time. Horse racing is cushioned without fans being there because of gambling, because of the betting industry, which is a key supporter of horse racing. That cushions the blow to the horse racing. And it's easy to social distance in horse racing, but when it comes to like these team sports, how many teams will go into administration, be liquidated? We've already seen Macclesfield Town go to the wall. Southend United are the next one on the chopping block. We know there's several other clubs in the Football League and Premier League that do have precarious financial situations. And I will stress this: if Manchester United are losing £5 million per day with no fans in attendance, and that's with a very, very generous TV deal, just imagine what's happening in the lower leagues. So lower league football, rugby league, rugby union, ice hockey, they're all going to get hammered. And how many teams will fold in the next 6 months? That's the question you have to ask. And rugby union's finances are very precarious. Rugby league has already had, as I say, an emergency loan from the government to sustain the game. But again, money isn't awash in rugby league in the UK. It's not as wealthy as it could be or should be. So how many teams and leagues will fold? That's the question going forward, because there's been no clear guidance as exactly a date fans will be allowed to return. We've had some trial events, and now we don't. And we don't have a set date on return fans. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens between now and beginning of March. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.